Fight. If they say that guy's the best guy, we gonna fight him. Where's he going? We're not ducking no work. Tank's the biggest guy out there, you know. And if this guy say he the best, and the fans feel that way too, you know, then that makes for a big event. That's what we do. No. The biggest fight in the world is Tank and Ryan Garcia. Hands down.
You think we'll see that fight happening at some point?
Yeah.
I know Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. I'm confident that fight's gonna happen.
Has there been any talk before? I know, you know, he mentioned it many times on Twitter and Instagram. You know, one time in interviews, that was the name that would always come up.
Ryan Garcia, he stepped away because, you know, he had some issues, personal issues that he's taking care of, but I'm confident that fight will happen. I'm confident in the future. I can't give you a timetable, but that fight, I think, will happen. I think it'll happen sooner than later. But Ryan Garcia, he's a very smart young man. He knows how to work social media. He has a solid fan base, and I think that you know, one day down the road that him and Tank will eventually come together, and it'll be the biggest fight in the world. I guarantee that.
How does that fight play out?
Tank Davis knocks him out.
Mayweather Promotions CEO says that he's confident they can, at some point, make Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Throw a like on the video. That goes a long way. Let's jump into the content. Now, you guys heard the clip at the beginning. That was Mayweather Promotions' own CEO, Leonard Ellerby, who said that his superstar fighter, Gervonta Tank Davis, he can see the fight with Ryan Garcia being made. Now, he didn't promise a date or anything like that. However, there's a strong possibility that this fight could get made. We heard rumors and rumblings beforehand that this fight was going to take place. And in fact, Ryan Garcia himself was one of the people that stated that he was fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. And he went on this whole tirade saying that Tank Davis is no match for him. He'll knock out Gervonta Davis in 2 rounds. Hate it or love it. Then a week or so later, Ryan Garcia came out and suggested that he was fighting Pacquiao, which we now know is not the case, as Errol Spence is fighting Pacquiao. So that's kind of where we're at. Tank went on to fight Mario Barrios. Scintillating fight. Did a backflip after the knockout. Some people had him down on the scorecards. Let me touch on that real quick. I think a lot of people are tripping when it comes to Tank's performance, and a lot of people don't know ish about boxing. I think a lot of people were making it like Tank was down by some crazy margin at the stoppage, at the point of the stoppage. I didn't see the fight like that. And I did a successful Boxingego watch party. I thought Tank did good. I thought he looked sharp. You look at, even post-fight, you look at Tank's face. His face is clear. He was mindful on defense. Obviously, the offense is doing stuff like this. Blew Mario Barrios back. And, you know, he captured 3 knockdowns in the fight. Really, you could have given him a 4th knockdown. It doesn't matter now because the referee, shortly after what would have been the 4th knockdown, stopped the fight. But after the 3rd knockdown, Barrios, being the warrior that he is, he got back up and attempted to continue the fight. And then Tank hit him with a big shot and his butt fell onto the ropes. So anytime the ropes hold you up, technically that's a knockout. Or excuse me, a knockdown. So really should have been 4, but who's counting? Tank is lit. They said he did over 200,000. I made a video about that. That's why you guys gotta subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest. Said he did over 200,000 in terms of the pay-per-view buy rate. And everything looks very promising for Mr. Davis. Came a long way, came from the slums and the hood of Baltimore, the Baltimore hoods, and he's emerged. Now, Ryan Garcia, we don't really know what's Ryan's deal at this point. Ryan pulled out of his last fight with Javier Fortuna, so there's a couple of things that has to be bothersome. Like, he's selling toys right now. He's selling a Ryan Garcia Funko toy. You know what I mean? So that's cool. I'm all for the branding aspect, but not when we see the fighter pulling out of their fights. You know what I mean? Like normally that's not what boxers are synonymous with. Boxers, you think of them making their shekels in the ring and making the impressions in the ring. Ryan Garcia has tapped into maybe a different audience. So as a result, he's lit and he got a lot of followers. But I don't know how much of that has translated into pay-per-view sales because they haven't even put him on pay-per-view yet. So if Golden Boy really felt froggish, they could have tried this number, but there hasn't been a fight where he's been on pay-per-view yet. So we know from 130 to 140, Gervonta Davis is truly the most lit guy. And he's on his second pay-per-view. He's coming back in October. I made a video about that as well. And men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Some people choose to try to dispute it, but like I said, at the end of the day, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Tank is lit, and he's on pay-per-view and doing numbers at $75 a pop to show that. Whereas guys like Ryan Garcia, again, he pulled out of his last fight with Javier Fortuna. That was supposed to be a difficult task at hand. And he said, you know, at his brightest moment, to me, Javier Fortuna fight, that would have been his most difficult fight on record out of all the guys he's ever fought. And when it got to the most difficult fight on the calendar for him, he pulls out. So that's not a good sign. Another red flag that Ryan Garcia could have his mind elsewhere is just based on the fact that on top of pulling out, he came back trash talking Devin Haney. He came back on Twitch doing body shot challenges a short time after. Then he went on record saying, "Oh, Tank, you know, Leonard, this is the fight I want." Let me get off this picture. But the thing that I think that is going to hinder Ryan Garcia a bit is he does the showmanship talking, but that talking has to be pushed into kinetic energy and action. He's talking about fighting Tank, but he's not fighting anyone. You know, he also took to his social media and Ryan Garcia says, "Oh, I got a big announcement." He keeps saying stuff like that. Like he's like, "I got a big announcement coming soon. My fight, you guys won't believe it." And then he does all this and has this big like production and parade about how he's gonna make an announcement. Like basically what Eddie Hearn did with Fury and Joshua in that whole faction, where it's like an announcement to an announcement. Hey, I'm announcing the fact that I got an announcement in a week. Like who does that? And this is something me personally, I don't prefer in the world of boxing. I think is for lack of a better word, is corny. It's corny to constantly announce stuff before and broadcast it before it manifests. You know, Ryan Garcia, again, I'm talking post-anxiety. Recently, he did a video and he says, "Oh, my next fight is going to be great. You guys will love it." Something to this effect. And we still don't know who he's fighting. They got the Zordo Ramirez, Sinisa Estrada, Jojo Diaz stepping in to fight a guy Ryan was supposed to be fighting. That's coming up. Yet we haven't heard no announcement for Ryan Garcia's next fight and next order of business. So I think the Tank fight can still happen regardless of these things, but this is something that needs to be put into consideration. I don't know. And if you look at the pulse of boxing and people in boxing, one of the things that should be a bit alarming is you have people who they keep saying Tank needs to fight Ryan. Tank needs to fight Ryan before he retires or before he's out the sport. So that's not a good thing when you're a young, vivacious fighter who's whatever age he is, 22, 23, and people are already worried about you checking out, because it makes people wonder how vested you are into having a long career. We've also heard Ryan Garcia say things like he wants to retire at age 26, aiming to retire from boxing at age 26. This is ESPN. You guys see it right there. Ryan Garcia aiming to retire at age 26, then take it a swing at MMA. Ryan Garcia believes he'll be done with boxing early. He plans to retire at the age of 26, but the red hot prospect is not saying he's given up on combat sports, blah, blah, blah. I still, listen, here's the quote for you guys. I tell you, everything I say is factual. Hit the like button. He said, I still plan to retire at 26. Yet, if I am able to return back to the ring, I will only battle people that people at that time will say Ryan can't beat them. Oh, that's a weird way to phrase that. But yeah, so he's already talking about early retirement and things like that. So we'll see how it all plays out. Tank Davis might have to, him and his team might have to try to get that fight cracking ASAP, because again, this is not customary. De La Hoya, he got retired by Pacquiao age 37-ish, and Ryan's talking about retiring. And De La Hoya, I use him because he has a great resume, and that's his promoter. So your promoter had an illustrious career. Ike Cortez, Pernell Whitaker, Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao, 2 fights with Shane Mosley, 2 fights with Julio Cesar Chavez. You had the Ricardo Mayorga, Bernard Hopkins, Felix Sturm. You had Hector Macho Camacho, Arturo Gatti. These are all guys that De La Hoya has faced in his prime and fought all the top guys. Felix Tito Trinidad, Fernando Vargas, and he retired at 37. Ryan's talking about retiring at 26, and he hasn't really done much in the grand scheme of things. Like, in my opinion, in terms of a Hall of Famer, first ballot type of career. Let me know what you guys think. Will Tank and Ryan Garcia happen? What do you think of Ryan talking about retiring early? Is this a good sign? Can they get this fight in the prime of the 2 fighters before Ryan retires? Let me know in the comment section. We working.